For the record, please state your name.
Hi, my name is Richard Matthews. Couldn't hear a word of what's going on, so if I repeat what's going on. Anyway, I live at 1333 Eagle Ridge Road, a few houses down from where this lot is. And I'm actually the water commissioner for our little association. I take care of the water pumps and stuff so that we have fresh water to drink. My biggest concern about this is that the lot pretty much takes a deep dive from the road, maybe a couple of feet off to the side of the road. And where are they going to park? And because you can't park on the side of the road, there is no side of the road there. And emergency vehicles come through. This is a one-lane road. And emergency vehicles are much wider than just a car. So it's a big concern about getting in and out for people in an emergency or people coming there because of an emergency. And it really, there's a conformity to the community there of how it looks, the way the houses are set back. And that will change. And so there's just real concern there, mainly about the safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speak in opposition to the application?
I'm sorry.
I ask if someone else, yes, ma'am, please come forward. Please write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. For the record, please state your name.
My name is Tracy Regan, and I am diagonal to the lot in question, and I'm president of our homeowners association, so I've talked to quite a few neighbors. The biggest thing is the parking for the emergency vehicles. The road, to add to what they've said, the road is a one-lane road. It's gravel and dirt, and there's one way in and one way out. So it's not a open road. So if we do have an evacuation, a wildfire, emergency vehicles, that's a big concern. My concern is how big will the structure be? I know it's supposed to be 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, but how big is it supposed to be? Because that will affect the uniformity. Is it full-time? Is it part-time? We have a community water well. So this will affect all of that as well. The road is also very narrow. I don't know if anybody has said that or not. And that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't want to repeat what they've said.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none at this time, we'll close the board for discussion. Any discussion, gentlemen?
As far as, I think he's going to need a site plan in order to be able to have a better look, because basically what they're saying is you got to have parking. You can't use the street as parking.
Certainly.
Minimum of 25 feet is what you need. It's one of the requirements that I had set with previous location we were at, because you need at least 25 feet. So you have a place to put vehicles, storage of at least 2 cars. Without seeing that, I'd just see that.
Harmony, do you know, I'm looking at the tax map here, and it looks like the structures just south of this are almost on the right-of-way line. Do you know if there's been variances on this road?
There have been variances in the past. Yes, sir.
Do you know how much they were? Or?
I do not right offhand. I apologize.
Okay.
That's something I could look into and get back to y'all.
Yeah, do you guys see what I'm talking about on?
I see exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it
yes.
looks like the two parcels south of this one,
Very
right
close.
on the road. 3, yeah.
Based on where the square, is, it looks like he's got room to either side, next to the structure for parking, to provide parking. But you definitely don't want to use the road system as any type of parking or use of for turnaround and stuff purposes and things like that.
Did this lot have a house on it before? Or do we know why there's a septic tank already there?
There is vacant land currently. There's not a structure on it.
Is the septic tank existing?
I would defer to the applicant for that.
I'm inclined to table this and see if Harmony can tell us what variances were granted before.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, motion to table until next month's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. Can we add that he come up with a site plan to show where he would park vehicles on the plot?
I think that would be beneficial.
Motion on the floor to table, requesting a site plan as well as more information from staff for next month. There's a move and a second. All in favor of tabling until our next meeting? Motion is carried 4-0. Mr. Rudeshi, we will table your application until our next meeting, at which time the board is requesting a site plan in which you will have a drawing of where you will park. Also, we're requesting more information from staff as to the variances that are around you on that road. So thank you. Application for special use, presentation of SU 22-01, Barkville Dog Rescue, Inc. Is someone here to speak for Barkville? Please come forward. Write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. For the record, please state your name
Kimberly Murphy.
and please give us a brief presentation as what you're looking to do here on this piece of property.
We are looking to purchase the property on North Sea Tick Road to build a,
Harmony, can you check and see if is that microphone on? Can you pull it towards you? Okay, try again.
we are looking to build a.
Can you hear?
Okay, hold on a second.
That is as loud as it goes. Well, if you could speak up as best. best
Okay,
you
I'll
can.
try to speak loud.
Oh, thank you.
We are looking to build a dog rescue facility on 20 acres on North Sea Tick Road. We are a nonprofit rescue group, and we have been in the business of saving lives since 2016. We have foster homes all throughout Metro Atlanta, but we're looking for a facility where we can temporarily house dogs in need before they're placed in a foster home or a forever home. The facility the plans are approximately 5,000 square feet. It would be heated and air conditioning. It would be soundproofed. And it's going to be a nice looking facility.
When you say soundproof, can you speak to that, please?
I've done limited research. I'm going to depend on the builder and architect for this, but there are soundproofing acoustics that you can have put in your building when you build it, so it stops all the echoes from the concrete floor and the concrete walls when the barking happens. And the dogs will not be outside at night. They'll all be inside the facility.
Okay. And you said you've been in business since 2016, correct?
Yes,
Do you have a facility now?
we don't. My husband and I own a home in Jasper where we foster dogs. We have a 2,000 square foot barn. It's not it's on our own personal property. But we are selling that property since we've moved to Dawsonville.
Seeking to move to Dawsonville? Are you-
We've already bought a house in Dawsonville.
So you currently reside in Dawsonville?
Yes.
Do you reside on this property?
No.
Okay, so you reside on a separate piece of property
Yes.
and you're looking to purchase this property to build this facility, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, how many dogs are you looking to house?
Approximately 28. That would be the maximum amount at any time.
Okay. And do you have another business or is this going to be your primary occupation or?
I have a full-time job. My husband runs the rescue.
Okay, so your husband runs a rescue currently?
Yes.
Okay. And he also has been doing this since 2016, correct?
Well, we've been doing it a lot longer than that, really,
Okay.
but as far as running a rescue, I've been in rescue for probably 25 years, but as far as running a rescue, yes, since 2016.
Okay. Any other questions to the applicant?
Where will this, I'm just trying to look at the site. Is there a site plan that shows where the building will be located
There
on the
should
property?
be.
So which one? So, a little bit, yeah, okay, you can see the dirt road down through here.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor of the application? If you would, please come forward. Write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. For the record, please state your name.
My name is Carla Cobb.
Yes, ma'am.
This property is a really nice structured building. It's going to also have an upstairs area to this building as well. That's going to have offices up there for the officer here, as well as a living quarters with, you know, a bedroom, bath, kitchenette, and someone, we're planning to have someone stay there as well. On site. It's going to be gated into this facility. And if you look at the site plan, it's more than 600 feet or so from the road itself, as well as probably, I would say, I think when we were out there with the builders and we staked the property itself, it was well over 600 feet from the nearest neighbor. And it also has on this 20 acres, some nice trails that go back into the woods and all. And there's nobody around us in that whole facility that comes anywhere close to where it's going to be. It's going to be back in the road. It will be gated. There won't be a public access. Like, we're not going to have public people coming through there or anything like that. It's just a quiet building for us to house the animals, you know, the dogs, before we are able to place them. And this structure is, it's going to be a very pretty building. If you look at the design of the building itself, it's an architecturally, looks like a building, like a nice barn house like you see today. And when you're seeing properties out in the country where people are actually living in their barn and using their barn facility, this property is a very pretty barn. It's going to be aesthetically pleasing to the outside. And there are two ponds on that property that sit in the rear behind this building, just a ways down the road. Those ponds right now are covered in duckweed and in bad shape. And our plans, we've already spoken with a specialist from Ball Ground, and they're going to be coming out to treat those, get them back into, so that they will be not only aesthetically pleasing to look at from any neighbor's perspective, but also for the environment as well. They're going to also be able to, you know, for the birds and the nature as well. Those ponds are going to be treated all the way through periodically on a treatment to keep that those ponds viable for the, the nature around in the area, because right now they are not. And so this property is not only geared for the dogs, but we're trying to make it a beautiful area as well, for the habitat as well.
Thank you, Ms. Cobb. Does anyone else speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, is anyone? Yes, if you would please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. For the record, please state your name.
Roy Podolin.
Okay.
I'm a board member of Barkville Dog Rescue, and we have seen a post that was done on the Focus on Dawson Facebook page with citizens' concerns, and we've been very attentive to it. We also posted ourselves this afternoon. And it's apparent that the main concerns would be noise. Some are concerned about traffic. One point I want to make as far as noise goes is in rescue, we visit a variety of shelters all around the Atlanta metro area. And I have parked out at various shelters where there are 20 plus dogs in the building. And when I pull in and park my car there, I cannot hear any barking. The point I'm trying to make is that the majority of the day, the intention that the dogs will be inside the facility, other than to be exercised during normal periods. If you owned a dog on yourself and let your dog out to do his business and maybe let it out to play for a little while, that would be the intention. So I guess my point is on the noise area. We certainly are have heard the concerns. We're aware of it, and we're doing everything possible to minimize any possible noise issue. We've also talked to, had informal conversation with landscape architects and noise experts as far as the buffering and the type of landscape that could be installed if needed to minimize that kind of noise as well. But again, I think the emphasis is that we've got a 20-acre property and it's only a 5,000 square foot building with 28 dogs.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else speak in favor of the application? Seeing none. Anyone to speak in opposition to the application? If you would, please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. The record, please state your name
Charles Pritchett.
and what are your concerns?
My concern is I purchased 65 acres that runs along the entire backside of this 20 acres. And I bought it probably about 2 years ago, put a real expensive driveway in to get to the back part of the property from Frank Bruce Road. And I've already got it graded, ready to build a house, getting my permits. And my house will be about 50 feet from the property line. The ponds that they speak of actually feed all the creeks on my property. It feeds through, well, rather than one, all of them but one. And it runs through, and so I'm concerned about the runoff from the animal shelter that would go into the ponds, into the creeks, and then therefore, come through my property. And I'll be getting probably retirement here within about 5 years. And my plan is to build my retirement home there, in kind of tranquility, peace and quiet. And so I'm concerned, yes, about the noise. I think it's a great thing they're doing to rescue animals. And I'm all for, saving animals and things like that. But I really adamantly feel like that this is the wrong area because of where it's located. And we have a lot of people that live around there. My children are going to be inheriting some of this property, and my grandchildren, big, large tracts. They will be building residential homes there. So even if we're not able to hear the dogs on the inside, when they go outside, we're going to be hearing that. And right now it's very peaceful and very quiet. And so I wouldn't be for that. I've got grandchildren now. I live with my son next door because I sold my house and I'm going to build the other house. So I live in their basement now that we remodeled. And I've got grandchildren that run right up and down the edge of that property because it is a wooded area. And I'm just concerned about the animals and the noise. I know at Rock Creek Park, I can hear them on the ball field. There's a dog shelter there at Rock Creek Park, and you can hear them quite a long ways. Now, this building might be structured a little different, but it's pretty big. And the way the property, if you look the way the property lays, there's really only one place they can put that. It's on a kind of a ridge that goes right up to one of the lakes. So it's going to be pretty close, even though it may be off the road 600 feet, it's going to be close to the lake. And like, again, I'm concerned about the runoff of the animal, feces and whatnot, that runs down through there. And so I won't take any more time, but I'm definitely, I like the idea, but I just think it's the wrong place. We've got a lot of plans for the backside of that property there.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Pritchett.
you.
Anyone else speak in opposition? If you would, please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. Please state your name
Stephen Pritchett.
and your concerns.
My concerns, one is the noise. And I live adjacent to this property. I have a total of 6 acres. My house sits on 1 acre, and I have 5 acres that ties into my father's property of 65 acres. I currently own part of one of the lakes they speak of that I take my daughters fishing, and we really use the property. So that's one of my big concerns, the PCs runoff. I won't repeat too much. And from my back property, where my shop is, where I do a lot of my business, day-to-day business, it is less than 600 feet. It is roughly, in the ballpark of 150 yards. So it's just quite inside that. That's my biggest concerns with my kids playing. And amongst, if we go to sell a home, what does it do to our property values? And the other neighbors, just being too close to their house, with our everyday recreational, that we use our property. So I really don't want to repeat, because he said most everything I was going to say. So
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate your
Pritchett.
time, guys.
Thank you. If you would, please write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium.
Hello, my name is Mike Garcia. Hey guys, so my name is Mike Garcia. I've been here in Dawsonville since '96, and I work in development. I work in erosion control. I work with builders. I see the reason why things happen, which is perfect. First of all, I think we're in a residential area there, so I don't even know why we're here. But I think you guys shut down Peanut, which is the old guy across the street from building pallets, because it was a residential area. So to propose something like this, to me, I don't even know why we're standing here and wasting our time. Second of all, they're talking about there might not be any noise, but they've already talked to experts about how to confront that if there is. There's only a certain amount of dogs. So I just don't really understand how we can make that happen. I'm all about the dogs and saving dogs. Somewhere further northwest, somewhere else would probably be more food. But I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Anyone else? If you would, please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. Please
My name
state
is
your name.
Cheryl Frey. I am the adjacent property owner on the other side of it. Their driveway is 10 feet off of my property line. The big main concern that I have is the noise, the runoff, and safety. These dogs, I have nothing against dog rescue at all, but if these dogs get out, I have a handicapped husband. I stay at home daily, work from home, If he was to get out, he cannot defend himself. We have a niece that also lives on that property that is also handicapped. My biggest concern is safety, noise, and then the runoff also. I mean, it's a residential area. There was a business 100 foot from my house and it got shut down because it's a residential area. I don't understand why we're here again doing this, because we've already had one business there and it did get shut down.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. Please state your name.
Name's Don Walton. Live in Crooked Tree Development, which is about 1/8 of a mile from this property. And I'd like to open my comments this morning with, it's a commendable job that Barksville does. I think that most of the individuals that are opposed, I've talked to a number of them, are all for a rescue center. It's just unfortunately, they're trying to put it in a residential area, which is to us considered a bedroom community. North Sea Tick Road's approximately 1 mile long. There's 42 homes on this particular road. And 27 of those homes are probably within a stone's throw of this particular facility. The major concerns that I have, along with others, is the noise, definitely the runoff. A lot of children play on this street. A lot of them ride bicycles. It's going to add additional traffic, going to add additional risk. But also, as the chairman of the Homeowners Association, the Architectural Committee, I also have a duty to the HOA to protect our home values. And my research leads me to believe, particularly as it relates to putting a business within a residential area, it will have impact on property values. And Crooked Tree is an upscale neighborhood. We pay a lot of taxes. And, if our property values are impacted as a result of allowing this facility to open up in this bedroom community, then it will have an impact on taxable income from the residents as well. So again, our major concerns in summary is property values, noise, the additional traffic, and then quality of life. Because, these dogs will bark. As you probably ascertained from looking at the drawing, there are runs associated with the facility, and those dogs will be outside. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium. Please state your name.
Okay, my name is Tom Chandler. We live adjacent to the property on the back side, on the opposite side of Mr. Pritchett. One thing that on those two ponds, one of those ponds is in desperate repair need as far as the dam goes. If that dam goes and does bust, it'll run across Mr. Pritchett's property down there on the back side. The ponds have got more problems than duckweed. It looks like a big algae problem. The drains are failing on them. The drains are not working. As far as if the pond fills up, it can't drain. It'll go through where that washout is on the dam and stuff. So that needs to be dealt with in one way. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law have a farm. We're the only farm right there adjacent to it. We have cows, chickens, goats, and sheep. And if any of those dogs get out or they become a problem, it can get into the pasture, and that can be a problem for them because it's their livelihood. It's the job that they have as far as selling those animals and stuff, and it can be a real problem for them. Everybody around there's got dogs that bark. So, I mean, it's not so much a problem, but the dogs are used to seeing the animals and they don't have a problem with that. They'll bark at them a few times, but those dogs next to the kennel, and the kennel is right, I guess, within 50 feet of the fence line. And if those cows are up there during the fall, they go into the hardwoods over there and eat the acorns and stuff. And if there's dogs out in that kennel during the day, they're just gonna bark all day long at those animals and stuff, and that can become a problem for us also. You know, I got a concern about, I know that they use a lot of volunteer help, but somebody staying at that place at night, I just don't see them using volunteers at night to stay there all the time. I think that could become a problem too. And, you know, if they decide they're gonna build there, they're gonna have to have some kind of extreme fencing, and they're going to have some kind of landscaping as far as trees and stuff. And there's all, it's at a wooded lot already. So there's a lot of trees that are going to be taken off of that. So that's going to be addressed also. So, I mean, that's all I've got to say, but we've been on that property, me and my wife, it's her family's property, and we've been living where we have for 33 years. And we've been waiting for somebody to buy that piece of property for a long time. And I'll be honest with you, for the price they've been asking for it, there's been a lot of people looking at it for the last 2 or 3 years, and they've walked away because of the pricing and where there is to build a house. And I just got a question is, why did they pick this piece of property to build this thing? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking opposition? You would please come forward. Got your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Bill Matthews. I'm a resident of Crooked Tree subdivision. I'm also president of the Homeowners Association. So when the original post went up on this property, my email, text messages lit up quite a bit of our concerns. I researched a little bit of Barksville rescue. They said they rescued 2,000 dogs. Apparently they have an operation in Jasper. And when I looked at that operation in Jasper, it was in primarily a commercial. I think they had a post office next door. There was a car dealership, but it was in a commercial area, not a residential area. So this is a concern. Secondly, if you go back and if you look at the county's noise ordinance, which was signed in May of 2009, it clearly states that if a dog barks for 10 minutes continuously, that's a violation of the ordinance, and 30 minutes on an intermittent basis. Now, the young lady mentioned that the dogs would be housed inside at night, but they would be housed apparently outside during the day. So there's going to be a noise issue, and they're probably going to be breaking the county's own ordinance for noise. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else speaking opposition? If you would please write your name and address on the piece of paper.
Good to see all y'all here tonight. I want to let this stuff, I appreciate what you do for animals, and I'm not opposed to an animal shelter. But my husband and I own 5 acres there. That is within.
Could you please state your name?
Oh, I'm Krista Johnson, Krista Ingram
Thank you, ma'am.
Johnson. My husband and I own 5 acres that are there on the left side of the property that's in discussion here. We've lived there for, well, both my mom and dad's family are from the area. They grew up, they raised their kids in this area. It's a residential area. My concern is that this is going to bring not only noise of the barking dogs, which is going to disrupt our residential area. It's going to devalue the property that my husband and I have worked really hard at appreciating the value of our home and our property. And then just, outsiders or just traffic that it'll bring to the area. I'm opposed to this. So I just wanted to come up and state my opposition to it.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Anyone else speaking opposition? Please come forward. Write your name and address on the piece of paper.
My name's Joan Gibbs. I live at 180 North Seatick Road, and I own the
3 properties there. 2 of them are directly across from the property in question, and one's down the street by Stephen Pritchett. We bought our property in 1958, and I'm concerned, we've been there, my mom's in here, she's 90 years old. I'm worried about the noise. We won't be able to sit out on our porches and rock in our swings and listen to the birds and watch the squirrels. And we feed the animals. We love the animals. We don't want to harm them. But this is no location for no dog park, dog rescue. So if it could be located in a down about, agricultural property or commercial property, this is all residential property. We're proud of it, and we don't want to see this come in at all. I completely oppose this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else speak in opposition? Please write your name, address, and piece of paper.
It's Greg at All's house.
Please express your concerns.
What's that?
Please express your concerns.
All right. First of all, I've got a rescue dog. I love her. Sometimes I like her actually more than my own children. So coming from that perspective, I love the dogs. I love the cause. My daughter and I have gone down and we walk dogs at the Dawson County Humane Society. Again, love that. So I'm kind of with the group over here that's in Crooked Tree. So we live in Crooked Tree, nice, quiet residential neighborhood, nothing commercial whatsoever, as you've heard. So yeah, we're concerned about the noise. We're concerned about the traffic. Even though it's not a storefront for dogs, there's going to be traffic coming in and out. There are supplies, there are dogs. The dogs have to come in and out. They're not driving themselves. They don't live there forever. There's constant flow. So with that, the one thing that we talked about too was how many bus stops are on that road. It's a little road. It's a mile. It's maybe less than a mile. I think there's 4 bus stops. And I say that because I have a vested interest. I have kids on the bus. A lot of people back here have kids on the bus. It's already a game of Frogger, no matter where a bus goes, in the best parts or the least populated parts of the county. So now we're going to add a little bit more in this tiny little road where more than once, Miss Patricia could tell you, the cars will pass her on that road. So one more reason for, to take that chance. I don't think we need to take that chance in a residential area. So 28 dogs today. How many dogs is that in 5 years? Do they expand? They've got 20 acres. They said they're barely using a tiny little part of the 20 acres. So that's generally how things work. You build a house, you expand. You put a shed, you put a garage, maybe you add on to the house, your family grows. I have no reason to not believe that that could grow. 28 becomes how many? It's 50, it's 100. I don't know how big it is. They have plenty of room to do it. But that's a little bit scary in our neighborhood. I'm a few hundred yards from there. I run with my dog in the backyard. I can hear dogs the whole way down that road. It's perfectly fine, except it's someone's dog. It's someone's pet. To hear 20 or 30 of them, I just don't know what they can do to stop the sound. Again, we volunteer at a rescue. It's loud. It's loud and it's stinky. So I kind of had a question, and I know it's rhetorical at this point. Does the rescue family live near the rescue? Didn't sound like they did. They live somewhere else. So they're nice and far away. They're not going to deal with the noise. They're not going to deal with the mess. They're not going to deal with the traffic. But guess who is? I am. They are. We pay for that house. It's not a hobby. There's no one else paying for our house. It's not a not-for-profit. It's a for-profit. I have to work my butt off to pay for my house. And I don't need the hassle of all this around me. So yeah, they don't live there. A lot of people like to say, hey, sure, I support that and it should be there. Again, do any of these people live there? I've heard a single person here saying, yeah, this will be great. We should put it right here in this residential part of Dawsonville. And I live right beside it. So that's where it should go.
Thank you, sir.
So, thanks.
Anyone else speak in opposition? Does anyone else speak in opposition? If you would, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Tony Demido. My concern is enforcement of their promises. So they promised to build a structure with sound insulation. How are you going to enforce this? They promised not to have more than 30 dogs. How we are going to enforce this, as previous gentleman mentioned? Maybe in 5 years from now, they will have 100. How we are going to enforce their waste, right? It's problems which will collect over time, and that's what worries me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking opposition? Seeing none, at this time we'll close the board for discussion. Seeing none, we'll close the board for discussion. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Any discussion?
It's concerning me is it is a residential area, so, you know, that is detached residential all around.
It is.
Excuse me, sir, can I say one thing to you, not about that?
Sir, at this time, we're closed to the board for discussion. We're going to discuss this and we're going to make a vote on it. And as soon as we're done with that, then we're going to move on to the next one. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
That's my concern is all around this property is detached residential as far as land use. The comprehensive plan is showing it's residential. That's my concern.
So currently we have a residential area. Comp plan shows it residential. And the special use would not be residential. Certainly. Okay. Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to deny. All in favor of denial? Motion is carried 4-0. This board has denied this special use permit. Every one of you that has either in favor or in opposition, this will come before the Board of Commissioners next March the 17th, immediately following the 4 o'clock work session. So there'll be a 4 o'clock work session. After that, on March 17th, this special use will be heard, at which time they will make the final decision. ZA 22-02, Mickey and Sarah Thomas. This time we'll take a brief moment if some of you need to leave.
I just wish I was number one instead of number.
Do it. He wish he was number one. Oh, yeah, I understand. He's been back there talking the whole night.
Looks like I might be in the clear.
No wrong.
Yeah.
All right, please state your name.
Mickey Thomas.
And if you would, please tell us why you need a,
Just asking for a zoning change so we can build a 800 square foot guest cottage on our property.
back up and explain why we're doing this.
Just from what I've been told, I think we're zoned residential and trying to go back to agriculture.
So you're actually down zoning, is that
yeah.
correct?
We have 30 acres on our left side, 30 acres in the middle, and I just purchased the 200 to the right. So we're we have a house, a pool house and a swimming pool, and we're just trying to put a little guest cottage for my dad right there. That kind of complements the house. That's what we're trying to do. And I was trying to keep from having to square off an acre and a half and add a separate driveway and everything. Just want to kind of complement the house and add it to the side there.
Okay. Any other questions to the applicant? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, is anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, at this time, we'll close the board for discussion. Downzoning the piece of property. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moving a second to approve, all in favor? Motion is carried 4-0. We have approved, however, it will come before the Board of Commissioners on March the 17th, immediately following their 4 o'clock work session. Immediately following the 4 o'clock work session. So they'll have a work session and then they'll go into some other things and then they'll hear you a little bit later. Mhm. You too. ZA 22-03, Blake Holbrook. Someone here to speak for Mr. Holbrook. If you would, please come forward, write your name and address on the piece of paper there on the podium.
Name is Blake Holbrook. I'm rezoning family land from an acre and a half family land from RA to RSR to build a single family home.
Will you be living in this single family home?
Yes, sir.
Will you be having a dog kennel attached to your single family home?
No, sir. Appreciate y'all getting rid of the crowd.
Any questions to the applicant? Thank you, Mr. Holbrook. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, at this time we'll close the board for discussion. Gentlemen, 1.5 acres, cutting off a piece of family land to build a house. Any discussion? What shit were you? Understand? Is there a motion?
Motion to recommend approval.
Second. Moving a second to recommend approval. All in favor? Motion is carried 4-0. Mr. Holbrook, motion is carried. You will need to appear before the Board of Commissioners March the 17th, following their 4 o'clock work session. Thank you, sir. Updates by planning and development. Ms. Harmony?
We are plugging right along. You will have a pretty full agenda come next month, so. Bring a snack.
Snacks tonight. Is that it? What about ordinances? Any new stuff going on for ordinances?
Ordinances are being updated. I think we do have an update that could be coming before y'all to the 400 corridor in the next month or so. We'll just be looking out for that. We should know something next voting session if that comes to y'all.
Thank you. Seeing nothing else, that brings us down to adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.